All right. I think I'm saying all right more to the cat than anything else. You're probably going to see the cat come through this video because she apparently doesn't like me filming. But Stellarium is a program that I need to use to be able to show you something I think is incredibly awesome. But as you can tell, I'm filming this using my phone facing the screen, which I absolutely know is not ideal. In fact, it's horrible. You're going to see that every time the phone moves, it shows a series of lines because of the interface of the phone versus the screen. But I have tried for like 24 hours now to get a program that would work for a screen recording of Stellarium, because all the ones, it's a long story and you don't care, but basically I can't find one that will work. But so I'm just down to either not sharing this or sharing this using subpar technology, which is what I'm doing. But something I want to show you, if you're unfamiliar with Stellarium, it is a way that you can use it to go forward in time, backwards in time, to see what the night sky or the day sky looked like anywhere in the world at any time in history or the future. And I think the cat's coming back. If it is, just excuse it. But what I want to show you in particular is the view, and I'm going to go close up for just a second to show you that this is the view from Jerusalem. And up here, I'll show you that the time I picked was the year 33, and so it's 33 AD, month of April, the third day, and this is, if you know military time, we're talking about 6:30 in the evening. So I need to go pretty quick because that is continuing, as you can see, to click away. Okay, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time telling you why I picked that date. There's a lot of research into that, but I'm not going to go into that. But just for the sake of showing you this, if you remember the scripture of the night that after Jesus was crucified, they said that the moon, when it came up, it was the moon was blood. So again, I'm having to do this with one hand because I've got the other hand on the phone. But if you're looking at, this is what the night sky would have looked like at this time. So I'm going to show you this a couple of different ways. This is what the lighting would have actually looked like at that time of day, at that time of the year. So I'm going to go very slowly first and just kind of inch through the minutes. So if you were there, and you'll start to see the moon come up. Now, it's kind of hard for you to tell because you're not actually there. And of course, this thing always goes slow when I'm doing it with one finger trying. But the moon, very difficult for you to see it coming up. I'll try to get a little bit closer. At this stage, because of the atmosphere and the fact that the moon is coming up in a partial eclipse, it would have come up red. Okay, right as it's coming up over the horizon. It is actually coming up, and you can do the research and find out it was coming up in a partial eclipse, and it's also it's got that shadow cast on it. And it's coming up right there where when it first comes up in the atmosphere, it's got that reddish color anyway. So it's coming up and it's the color of blood. Of course, it continues to come up. Let me go a little faster. So, of course, with this one finger trying to do it, it's coming up. And, of course, and as it comes up, it's going to come out of the eclipse. And so it'll start to brighten up. Because it did, after that, it was, normal moon. Okay, so one of the cool things to see, now I'm going to go back down with it, because you can go backwards on Stellarium too. Just take the moon back down. I'm sorry it's taking so long. I'm not a professional. Okay, one of the cool things you can do with Stellarium is you can go down here and take out the landscape, because what this did, this is not Jerusalem. Obviously, if you're using the program, they have a landscape. So you have an idea where the land was, what you could see above it and what you can't see. But you do have the benefit of taking out the land so that you can see the full sky. So the first thing, they wouldn't have been able to see below here. That land would have been right here. But let me show you what's going on with the moon as it's coming up into eclipse before it gets to where people can see it. So you can see it starting to get progressively darker. It's going down, down, down in density, or not density, but in the darker color, because it's going into eclipse. And again, I wish I was faster, but my finger's only doing. And then, of course, as it's going up, as you saw, it comes back up out of that red color because it's going back into what they would have seen as a regular full moon. All right, so let me go back down again, because I want to show you something else that's cool. This is before it went into eclipse. It has this bright. It's bright again. Let me put the land back up because they won't be able to see. Now, one of the things that's neat. Now, again, if you study this sort of thing, then you absolutely know that astrology and astronomy are totally different things, and you don't want to mess around with astrology, because that's when you forecast the future and that sort of thing. And that's not at all what God would have us to do. Not at all what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about the same sort of thing, like God had signs in the heavens that marked his different things, the seasons and that sort of thing, not to do with man's future. But there was something incredibly interesting that happened at the same time when you do any studies about the time that Jesus was born and that sort of thing. So I felt like there had to be an interesting thing that was occurring, in addition to the fact he mentioned about the moon coming up as blood. I thought there's got to be, I mean, that's enough, but perhaps there's even more. So I went back and looked, and I thought, I mean, this was, to me personally, this was what was breathtaking when I saw it. So let me go and take this, and let's see. I want to put in, I just put in the names of the constellations and things. That really doesn't matter to me as much as it does the art. So let me if I can get this going, constellation art. Okay, we don't go by all this stuff. Of course, I know when we were all talking about the Christmas star last year, which was not a Christmas star, and I couldn't alert people to that enough, but the media gets involved, and what do you do? But anyway, they were very interested in where those stars were in relation to Virgo at the time, but I won't go off into that. But what I will tell you is this area right here is extremely interesting. I want you to watch what the Lord did as far as constellations are concerned. When the moon is coming up, basically the color of blood. In other words, the moon is coming up as blood. Let's see if I can get it to progress so you can see. Here comes the moon, and those around who understood the constellations and the sky and everything to do with signs are going to see it's coming up, and it is blood. And the blood covered the scales. And even though the artwork isn't precise, that moon, that blood-covered moon, would have been right in the middle, balancing the scales with blood. I was floored when I saw that. Absolutely floored. Because the Lord could have done anything at all that he chose, but he had the night of his son's sacrifice, where blood balanced the scales, where blood made the payment and took away the sin being heavily weighed, where we were all destined to die, and said, no, that blood now balances the scales and brings that justice in. And the Lord put the blood on the actual scales. And whether that sign means anything to anybody else or not, I have no idea. But I tell you, it absolutely takes my breath away. I hope that it blesses somebody else.